Hey, this is JesseECanty. Man, I am so glad that you took the time to download this podcast. Listen, it's getting ready to be a blessing to you. It is power-packed full of wisdom. Listen, as you hear this episode and maybe you want to be a blessing to this podcast, well, you can hit me up on CASHAPP. Type in JesseECanty, Jesse, the letter E, CANTY, with the $, of course. And you can be a blessing. Anything you give will be appreciated. I thank you, and I pray that nothing but God's blessings and his best be upon you. Take care. Hello, I'm JesseECanty, and welcome to my podcast, How Bad Do You Want It? I just wanted to take this moment to give you a few minutes of introducing you to this podcast and what the purpose is behind it. I've been a pastor for 17 years. I preached in over 31 countries from around this world. Australia 4 times, and Africa over 9 times, and done a lot in ministry. Still relatively young. I'm still in my 40s, 47 as I'm making this recording. And I had pastored for 17 years, Living Waters Christian Ministries. Well, then why am I doing a podcast now? Well, this was a command, this was a mandate that the Lord placed upon my heart, but it also been a dream of mine. Not necessarily to do a podcast, but to be able to speak to the people of God and people of God beyond the 4 walls of the church. Because, see, whenever God speaks to me, he always places me in areas that go beyond something that maybe traditionally the church want to hear. I like to talk about being saved and other things that is comfortable with ministering within the 4 walls of the church. But I also like to talk about areas concerning finances. I like to talk about areas concerning things that child rearing and concerning our family that may not be popular to bring into a church setting. I didn't want to have any limitations on what God would place upon my heart to do. One of the things that Jesus said, he said that I came that you may have life and that you may have it more abundantly. And one of the things concerning that is it's basically a 360 degree area. When Christ comes into your life, he didn't just come just to save you. He didn't just come just to fill you with the Holy Spirit. He also came that he can minister and touch every part of your life. I've always grew up in church as a PK kid. My mother's a pastor. I mean, I've been growing up in church since the day I remember, knee high. But I've always been in church, and I looked around and I said, is this all that God is about? Not against church at all. I am a product of the church. The church has been a tremendous blessing to me. But it's also during this time in my life, I'm realizing that our God is bigger than just being held within a 4-wall structure. He will follow you to the office. He will follow you home. He's concerned how you raise your children. He's concerned how you love your wife. He's concerned how do you handle your finances. He's concerned about the health of your body. And those are the areas that I wanted to venture out in. I'm also a published author. So far, I've published 2 books, have many more coming. One of the books is entitled Furnace of Affliction. The other one is entitled Rivers of Wisdom. I have things that's locked up inside of me that I have no doubt that will be able to be a blessing to many of God's people. Mentoring is one of the things that I do often. I minister and mentor to a lot of young males that have tremendously been a blessing to them, but as well as to me. So this area, I want this to be a podcast that you can come to, and you can be free to know that whenever God put something up on my heart, I'm going to bring it to you, and it's going to minister to you, the whole man. It's going to let you know not only what God desires for you to have, but just as importantly, how much do you desire to have it? That's why I entitled it, How Bad Do You Want It? Because everything God has for you, it is for you. But there is going to take a collaborating effort that you must work along with God. It's not that God needs your help to bring your destiny to pass. It is more so that he requires your help. Because God is not in the business of spoiling his children. He will always do for you what you can't do for yourself. He will never do for you what you can do for yourself. So sometimes we hear, especially men in church, we can receive prophetic words or different things that may come our way, and we tend to think it's just going to happen on its own. Destiny does not just happen by chance. It has to happen by intentionality. You must be intentional on where you're going, what are you wanting to happen, and do you have it within you to succeed it? The Bible also says no man go build up a house unless he first counted up the cost. Sit down and can figure out how many bricks you need, how much help you're going to need. All the things that goes on into constructing your home, you must sit down and count all this stuff up. Not so it can make you afraid and you will not approach it, but so that you will not be caught on guard or unaware of what it takes to be great. You don't stumble up on greatness. You have to know that you're going at it and you are preparing yourself for it. I love the word extraordinary, because either you're going to be ordinary or extraordinary. If you want to be extraordinary, you're going to have to excel in areas that other people do not take the time and excel in. I also love the word self-development. I would not put this podcast just under a spirituality tab. I will put it up under self-development. One of the blessings to my heart is when I can look back and see someone that's 70 years old and walking around with a smartphone on Facebook, texting their grandchildren, listening to podcasts, listening to books, or watching things, sending emails while they out, from the home. And it blesses me because there lies a person who was born outside of due times concerning the technology that we have before us today, but they did not let that stifle their growth. They adapted, they made adjustments to the time that they're living in now, so that they may be effective and connected to today's generation. That's what my heart is desire to do. I do not want to become antiquated or outdated and can't reach anybody around me. Sometimes all we do is just repeat messages because we heard them repeated before. Sometimes you go to church and you hear the same thing you heard before. You know on Christmas what you're going to hear. You know on Easter what you're going to hear. And you hear it and sometimes you hear it preached the same way. And there is a little voice inside of some people that's crying out and says, okay, is there anything else that God is challenging me to do? I myself, I was a pastor, as I said, for 17 years. In the last 3 years of my life as a pastor, I heard the Lord say, what else are you? Why have you limited yourself to just pastoring? Why have you allowed people to tell you this is the normal and what you need to do is just preach on Sundays, teach on Wednesdays, marry the people, counsel the people, and bury the people. Have your meetings, and therefore your life is ends. And the Lord challenged me and said, I have much more inside of you than just that. Never allow yourself to be placed in a box or your gift, but do allow yourself to dream and hear what the Lord speak to you and say, God, if this is you and you are requiring this of me, whether you're calling me to be a world-class sprinter, whether you're calling me to be a teacher, whether you're calling me to be an entrepreneur, whether you're calling me to be a minister, whether you're calling me to be a counselor, whatever it is that you have a mandate upon my life, my job, God, is to give it every effort and everything that's within me to collaborate with what you have destined for me to be. When you go to the airport, you are going intentionally to leave the area where you at and go into a new region. And when you go, even especially today's time, there is rules and regulations as you move throughout the airport. There are places you must be. There are ways that you must pass through security. You can't just go in there special and just give it half-hearted effort or do what you want to do. You must remove your belt. You must remove your shoes, etc. And these are things that is important in life. If you're going to succeed, there are certain principles that you must walk out. You must possess it. You must have tenacity. Nobody's going to give you anything free. The first thing you need to know right now is that nobody owes you anything. If you're going to be great, if you're going to achieve your dreams, if you're going to succeed your destiny and reaching your destiny, you got to know that nobody owes you anything. Therefore, nobody is guaranteed to give you anything. If God says you can have it, find the strategy behind it. Look deep within yourself. Get you some spiritual Gatorade and prepare yourself for what's ahead of you. The journey will take everything that's inside of you. It must come out of you. It was never meant to be easy. If it was be easy, anybody else could come along and steal it. But you were built for this. There is the voice that's calling you. So through each episode, I give you my promise that I will look deep down within my spirit and hear what the Lord is saying to me and come and make recordings that's going to challenge you to grow in wisdom, to grow in tenacity, to grow in determination, but stay in step also with the Spirit of God, so that when it's all said and done, you will have fulfilled your destiny and have become the man or woman that God has required for you to be. I want you to share this podcast with people. This is just my initial one. I'm just doing it on my own. I don't have a team. And that's how God moved me throughout life. I own restaurants. I own 2 restaurants currently now, but I've opened many more, smoking wings. But guess what? Everything that I have, I started within my home. I didn't just easily have a team that I can put around me. So therefore, I could not wait on people. I had to start with what I have and then perfect it along the way. There is no reason, there is no excuse that you cannot do what God called you to do. And I just want to share my journey with you. I want to be the coach that's going to help be in the background of your life. If I can be a small part of a big thing concerning you, then I have done my job. And so when you check into every one of these podcasts and subscribe and follow, please, when you check into every one of them, I will not waste your time. And I believe there's going to be the fuel that you need to travel and make throughout your life in that week, that day, that moment you hear it. And you're going to be and seize that moment, and you're going to become who God called you to be because of what you ate spiritually. Eat that word and be encouraged. Know that I'm looking forward to many times talking with you. I pray this is a blessing to you. It's January the 1st. 2021. I want it bad enough. So let's journey together in increasingly growing in our destination and our destiny towards God. You have a blessed day. Know that I love you and I'm keeping you in prayer.
Hey business owners, this is Rashad Brown with SwipeFast, located in Columbia, South Carolina. We are excited to be partnering with JesseECanty and the How Bad Do You Want It podcast. Since 2017, SwipeFast has been helping business owners like you save up to 99% in their debit and credit card processing fees. So if you process business to business or business to consumer payments, we have solutions that will meet your needs and would love to hear from you. You can reach us at swipefast.com/save. That's swipe, spelled with the Y, or contact us at 1-800-597-0713. Don't forget to let us know that JesseECanty sent you. Have a blessed day.